Alright, what's up guys? So, unfortunately, there's not going to be a BMX video this week because if you watched the last video, you'll remember that I said this. Oh man, I'm getting sick again. And guess what? I got sick. And for those of you that don't know, what happens when I get sick is I'll get sick for a couple days, and then eventually at some point during the sickness, it always happens, my asthma will crank itself up to 11. For those of you who've ever watched one of my GoPro BMX videos, I'm sure you were able to decipher that I do have some pretty gnarly asthma, but in this case it got a little bit gnarlier because for the first time in like the longest time that I can remember, I was actually like struggling to breathe. Normally what happens is my asthma will get pretty bad when I'm sick, but I'll be able to control it. But this time it actually concerned me enough to where I decided to go to urgent care, and they gave me freaking prednisone, antibiotics, an inhaler, stuff for a nebulizer. If you don't know what a nebulizer is, it's basically an inhaler that's on crack. So they definitely loaded me up with drugs, and I've had to take some time off my bike because for those couple of days where it was really bad, if I tried like fast walking, I was like hyperventilating, and probably if I tried to ride my bike or tried to like run, or I would probably suffocate and die. So I've been doing a whole lot of nothing these past few days, which kind of sucks. I can feel like my blood itching from not riding my bike, so that's kind of shit. But I gotta take the time off because I don't want to die. Hopefully by next week I'll be able to have some normal BMX content out for you guys. So since I can't ride my bike and since I don't have a guitar around me, I figure now is the perfect time to make my first ever Balisong YouTube video. Or butterfly knife for you common folk. I'm gonna switch between saying Balisong and butterfly knife this whole video. The technical name for this is a Balisong, and everyone in the very close-knit Balisong community will call it a Balisong. For the common folk, it's called a butterfly knife, so I'm just gonna switch between saying Balisong and butterfly knife. Now, a little backstory. I've actually been doing tricks with these longer than I've been doing tricks on a bike. I've been riding a bike since as long as I can remember. I've played guitar longer than I've done freestyle BMX. I think I started that in like 7th grade and have been doing that ever since. And then once I was like a freshman or sophomore, that's when I found these and got into these, and I've been flipping these ever since then. And then a couple years after that is when I officially got into like freestyle BMX. And so yeah, I've been doing tricks with these longer than I've been doing tricks with bikes, so that's kind of quirky. For the longest time, I would use just crappy, cheap knives. I've even had like clones of like Benchmade 42s, and this is my Benchmade 47 clone. So around the time that I was getting into butterfly knives, Benchmade stopped making their legendary 4X series knives, and so those got really expensive. Back then, in the Balisong world, knives were either dirt cheap or stupid expensive, and especially since Benchmade stopped making those, the 42s and the 4X series knives, because those prices just skyrocketed, and those were like the best knives that you could get and are still like widely regarded as one of the best kind of butterfly knives you could ever get. And so I was kind of screwed, and so I was stuck flipping just cheap, generic, no-name pieces of shit. And like I'd get one, I'd have it for a couple months until it fell apart, and then I'd get another one. And then one day Blade Runner Systems came around, and their goal was to make like the next 4X series knife, and they did, and they dropped it. It was called the Alpha Beast, and it was like a tank of a knife for like $350, and I was like, hey, that's really awesome, but I can't afford that whatsoever. And so I was still stuck flipping crappy knives until they showed off the prototype for their next Balisong, which would be called the Replicant. Once I saw the very first like preview video for it, I just remember looking at that knife and I was going like, damn, if that next knife is gonna look anything like that, I'm gonna start saving up now for whenever they eventually do release it. And eventually they did release it, and I'm proud to say that I was one of the very first purchasers of a production BRS, or Blade Runner Systems, Replicant. This is from their very first wave or generation of replicants that they ever dropped, so that's pretty cool. I don't know if that means this is like a super valuable version of a replicant, or if it's like the cheapest, least desirable version of the replicant or whatever, but for me, this is my holy grail knife because it is by far the best knife that I've ever owned. This is the best that I've ever gotten to experience, and I don't know if it could get much better than this because I really love the way this thing flips and feels. And I've had it for probably about 4 years now. Once I got this, the 4X clones that I was using got put on the back burner for quite some time. But it is fun to pick this one up now again and flip it every now and then because it's just fun to flip something new. But yeah, ever since I got this girl, she's been #1, and I actually did name her. I named her Repliquisha, but that was 4 years ago. I do now realize that that is pretty racially insensitive, so for lack of a better name, we'll call her Bernice. I don't fucking know. So even after all these years of flipping it, this thing is still like, look at how much play this thing has even after all these years. That's like almost nothing. Like, and then in the closed position, it's got almost no play. I love the way it's balanced. This knife is on the lighter side of butterfly knives. It's not crazy light, but it's on the lighter side. And over the years, I've come to enjoy that because I've got carpal tunnel in my hands. And over the years of flipping these, playing guitar, doing tricks on bikes, Pornhub, man, you name it. I've taken a beating on my hands over these years, and some days they're freaking hurting. Even with this knife, my hand will still cramp up every now and then, but it definitely does help with the carpal tunnel. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I have taken some pretty lengthy breaks from flipping knives, but I'll always eventually start back up again and start doing it again. But I've noticed that recently, once I start up back again, I've noticed that like the area on your hand where you start twirling, it'll get pretty scraped up, and I think it's just from twirling it against the titanium and the G10, and then like there's this little notch right here, and then also where the Zen pins are, that just kind of tears up that area of my hand a little bit. And for the first few days of flipping again, it hurts pretty good. But so that's probably like the one downside that I have to this knife. But other than that, I love the way it looks. I love the blade, the Tonto style. It's G10 with titanium liners, a D2 tool steel blade, I believe. It's got a bushing system. It uses Zen pins instead of Tang pins, and this thing's just awesome. It did come with a latch, so they all come with a latch. I just took mine off one day and never put it back on. And I know there's like a bunch of crazy different versions of this knife. You can get the G10 scales and any color under the rainbow, and you can get the titanium anodized, all kinds of different crazy colors. And I've wanted to perhaps anodize the liners and the titanium on this knife, but I also like kind of wanted to hold off on it because I don't know how that would affect the price. Because maybe one day I would, for the right price, maybe let go of this thing or trade it. And I don't know if anodizing the scales on a Generation 1 or version 1 replicant would hinder the price or anything. If you think it would, maybe let me know. If not, I just might do it, because that's probably like the one other thing that I dislike about it, is it's just a plain old replicant. It would take the right knife or the right price for me to let go of this thing. And even then, I don't know if I could let go of it. I've gotten so attached to this thing over the years. It's been the one knife. I put this thing through the ringer and it's held up amazingly. I mean, there's still kind of a tip. Not really. The tip's there's not a tip. Who am I kidding? I haven't sharpened it in a while. That's just me slacking. Overall, man, this thing has just been a treat to own. And it still flips today the way it did day one, which is just a testament to how good BRS's product is. So if you are in the market to get a new Balisong that's of higher quality, I would definitely look into BRS, because I do recommend the Replicant. And I know that I've been out of the scene for a while. I would always stay connected to the community, but I would never really engage in it that much. That's my fault, just being shy. I probably should engage in the Balisong community a little bit more, because it does seem like a fun group of folk. And so that's been my little video about my Balisong. I know most BMXers are into like kendamas and stuff, but yeah, I'm sure you could very easily get into Balisongs. And if you're scared about getting cut, there's plenty of trainers. I by no means am like a professional flipper. I've just been a big enthusiast for quite some time, and I just have lots of fun flipping. And so yeah, thank you for watching if you're from the Balisong community, for checking this out. Thank you if you're a regular viewer of my channel and you check this video out. I know it's quite different from the usual stuff that I post. I've said it about guitar stuff, and I'm gonna say it again about Balisong stuff. If you guys want more Balisong related content or guitar content on top of the load of BMX content, really, seriously, let me know if you want more of these videos. I will happily make more Balisong related content, more guitar related content. I don't want to necessarily put myself in a box. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you didn't, that's fine. Regularly scheduled BMX content coming out hopefully next week. Hopefully by then I'll be able to breathe and actually be able to ride. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, leave a comment, leave me your thoughts and opinions. Let me know if you want more Balisong related content. Share this video around if you liked it that much. Definitely subscribe for more, hit the bell notifications, do all that stuff. You know. I think I'll finish this video off with just some clips of me flipping the knife. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.